chapter 3, Vibhuti part. And this sutra is a bit complicated. In fact, one of the most difficult to understand sutra and very, very complicated Vyas Bhashya. And the comments which are there, they are really difficult to understand. And it's a long Vyas Bhashya comment which is there. So this sutra reads, Bhuvana Jnanam Surya Samyamat. That is, by practicing Samyama on the sun. Now, sun has been here defined. The commentator Swami Hariharandaranya has interpreted the sun as the point in the body known as the solar entrance. So, by practicing Samyama on the point in the body as solar entrance, knowledge of the cosmic regions is acquired. So, Bhuvana Jnanam Surya Samyama. Bhuvana refers to the cosmic regions. We normally think that the world we know is the only world. But then there are other kind of existential levels which have been talked about. When we look at the science also confirms. And now particularly the kind of knowledge which has been gained by physics, particularly in terms of universe, in terms of the expanding universe, the galaxies and the stars and the kind of astronomical distances which are there. They show us that there are many possible kinds might be there and which we do not know. So from that possibility, we'll have to keep our minds little open to be able to understand this particular sutra. And when we look at the Vyas Bhashya opens like talking about 7 kind of lokas, 7 kind of cosmic regions. And the names also have been given, the details also have been given. All the names are very, very ancient and old names. The terminology is also difficult, and the Sanskrit terminology is there. So what is the name of these 7 lokas? Is Bhulok, Antariksh, Mahendralok, Prajapatya, Maharlok, Janalok, Tapolok, Satyalok. So these are the technical names which are given. And then in that also there are certain regions which are not belonging to these 7 categories, but they are totally different categories. Like they talk about 7 kind of patalas. So Narak Bhumis, or the 6 kind of hell regions, where only the persons born there are only there to suffer. So those are known as the hell regions. And then this Patala has been about, which is considered to be below the earth. And so many other, names are there, like this 6 Narak Bhumis, as they call it. They have been termed as Ghana, Salila, Anila, Akasha, Tama. And different names are also given to this Mahakala, Ambarish, Raurav, Maharaurav. In those who are reading Indian languages, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, ये सब भाषाओं में हम लोगों ने रौरव नर्क, महारौरव नर्क, इन सब के बारे में नाम कभी कभी सुना रहे, क्योंकि these are the terms which are there in the scriptures, and sometimes you keep reading about such kind of names, but still we can't make out what they are. And then there's Prithvi, that is our gross earth on which we are living. So these various kinds of descriptions are there, and one has to understand that these may not be considered to be the physical or gross kind of existences, but there are also subtle kind of existence which have been talked about. And when we apparently look at the sky, for example, when we look at the sky in the day, we only see the sun. But at the night time, we see so many stars. And then now people who have knowledge about it, they use the methods to really look at the galaxies, look at the stars belonging to other solar systems. So apparently they all appear to be very, very gross. And all the efforts are being made to verify them, see them with the physical naked eye. If the naked eye is not capable enough, then the gadgets are used. So very, very powerful, instruments are used to see at the great distances. So all that is part of the science. But here, this is talking about old cosmology and old, knowledge about the universe. Now, you see, this comments which are there in Vyas Bhashya, they are now almost 1700, 1800 years old. So almost 2000 years they'll be touching by way of oldness. Now, Vyasa has not given any original comments. Whatever he has stated, he has learned from others. He has learned from some accounts which were available to him 1800 years back. Now 1800 is a very long period, and you can understand that so many texts must have come into existence, so many texts must have been lost. And in India, when you talk about the text, particularly the religious texts and the spiritual texts, there are ample number of scriptures, ample number of shastras, and so many of them are not available now. For example, when we are studying Sankhya Sutras of Panchashika, Sankhya Sutras which were originally composed by Panchashika, they are not available, they are extinct. But some references of that original Panchashika Shastra has been preserved by way of quotations by Maharshi Vyas. So Vyas has quoted from the original Sankhya Sutras. So around 21 of them are available in Vyas Bhashya at different places in this Vyas Bhashya. So 195 sutras are there. At some places those quotes are there from the old text. Like that, so many texts must have been lost. So we do not really know which book he is referring to, what is the authenticity, who commented it. But then the commentators have agreed upon one thing, that whatever has been stated, it must have been an account of a yogi who has realized it, who has really perceived all this. And then he has given an account. But then we also know that whenever some extraordinary things are perceived, extraordinary experiences are gathered by so-called great spiritual giants the human race has produced, later on the distortions will come in that. Always the distortion. And then another thing we have to understand, the person who perceives, he doesn't write it. He doesn't have to write it because he is so overpowered by what he has found that he is not in a mood to write. Only he can impart that knowledge by way of what is known in Yoga Shastra and in spiritual world as Upadesha. Somebody reaches him, somebody asks him something, he will say something. And that will always be in the form of Upadesha. And that Upadesha will be written down by the follower. And in taking down the Upadesha, it is not necessary that very sincerely and very truthfully everything will be recorded. Very often the distortion comes, and those distortions are later on interpreted in several ways. Why I am saying this is because there is a history behind it. You look at the utterances of the great spiritual leaders, religious leaders who have got profound experiences, who say that they have realized God, who say that they have face to face seen God. Now, such kind of people, when they give their account, they have not written it down themselves, but their disciples have written down. So, if we look at Buddha, for example, whatever Buddha taught, it was in the form of Upadeshas. And later on, they say some of the recordings were made even after 200, 300 years after Buddha. So it was done from the memory. So a lot of distortion will come. Same way you can look at Jesus Christ. He has stated certain things, but he has not recorded himself. And later on some people have recorded, and there are differences of opinions. Same way we can talk about the great Prophet Muhammad. He has stated some certain things, and later on you'll find a lot of distortions, and people still, they are not able to come to the terms that what was exactly said. So these kind of distortion I'm just telling you so that you will understand the wholeness of the whole thing and the possibility of distortions creeping in. So maybe some great yogi had perceived that and then he had given that account, but the disciples, and whatever Vyasa has written, he might have come across that kind of narration, that kind of writing. That is why he has stated here. So when you will read the sutras, I am saying all this presuming that you all must be reading the sutras. If you are really reading the sutras, you will find it is very confusing. So I am clarifying certain points right at the beginning. So when you read that, you will not get confused by it. This is the very ancient account. And then this is all attained not by way of physical eye, but by way of, a great perception taking place in samadhi or in higher concentration, where the mind has transcended all the lower kind of concerns and mind is in a great concentrated state of samadhi where these kind of realizations or these kind of perceptions are taking place. As it is, we are talking about Vibhutis. And you have seen that Vibhutis, they are as a result of Samyama. What is Samyama? Samyama is Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi. So all the things which are talked about in this chapter, they are as a result of Samadhi. And Samadhi is the highest possible concentration attainable by a human being. As compared to that, our concentrations, the way we use our mind, it is very, very, very less in comparison to that. We are nowhere near that kind of concentration, because even if we are asked to sit 10-15 minutes quietly focusing on something, so many thoughts will creep in, distractions will come in the mind. That is the kind of mind we have. So this knowledge has been imparted to us by the persons who had these samadhi techniques at their disposal, and they have said. Now going to the sutras detail properly, how it is attained, or what is this Surya Dar, or what is this entrance to the Surya Sun. This is very, very significant. From the spiritual point of view, this is very significant sutra, because it is talking about something very, very fundamental and which has been considered to be very important by all the spiritual disciplines in the world. So they say that this solar entrance is situated in our heart region, at the upper part of the heart, and this at heart region there is a great sentient light of sattva which is there. So according to this sutra, the most important and sattvic and sentient, the most sensitive part in our body is the heart, and the maximum sattva resides in the heart. And there are energies, and there is effulgence, there is light, spiritual light of sattva which is there, and this light is in the form of what is known as, one of the Upanishads says that the Atma or the soul resides in the human body, and it is of the size of a thumb, just a thumb. And where does it reside? It resides in the heart. So heart is the seat of consciousness. Heart is the seat of Atma. So from the heart there are several energy or effulgent beams, of knowledge, one can say, of what we known as, because two things are there. When we say, the moment I say effulgence, everybody will start conceiving of something in the form of light. Now light is also effulgence, but what we are able to know through that power with which we are able to know, that is also known as effulgence. Now imagine, I am saying certain words and you are listening to those words and you are trying to make out meaning from what I am saying. All this is happening because of the capacity for knowing what is being said or perceiving what is being said. So this is also part of effulgence. effulgence does not only mean the light, that is visual light, but effulgence also means the sattvic capacity of illumination of knowledge. When we look at any object, immediately we are able to identify that object because we have that capacity of effulgence. So such a light of effulgence, it goes from the heart towards the head, towards the Brahmarandra. And this is known as solar entrance. So this concentration, this Samyama is done on this particular light called solar entrance. So there is a effulgent light going, and light is spreading everywhere. Light is spreading everywhere in every direction of the body from the heart. But there is a powerful beam of light, a powerful beam of this effulgence which reaches out towards the brain. And from that, when the focus is done on that, then this kind of knowledge is available. So that is the contention. And for that, the author has referred to various kind of shrutis. Always, one of the things we have to understand that for such kind of things, the ancient shastras are considered to be the pramana. They are considered to be the proof for, stating these things. So, commentator Swami Hariharandaranya has quoted from several Upanishads, and I'll not go into the details of those Upanishads, but very beautiful, quotations are there. So, at one of the comment is that from the heart, the upward moving effulgent white light is called Sushumna. So this is this area which I talked about, the upper portion of the heart, and from that heart, the beam of light goes to the Brahmarandra, towards the top of the head. Now this is known as Sushumna. So far, most of you are belonging to field of yoga. So you will say the Sushumna Nadi is there in the spine. It begins at the base of the spine and it goes to Sahasrara Chakra. That is what we have learned. But in ancient times, that was not the position taken by the ancient scriptures. Clearly, Sushumna has been said to be, it is also known as Brahmanadi, and it is said to be moving from the heart region to the top of the brain. So ancient people, so in these ancient scriptures, particularly the old Upanishads, this particular Nadi which is moving from the heart to the brain, that is known as Sushumna Nadi. So here the concentration is on the Sushumna Nadi, and when this concentration is done, so this is known as solar entrance. Why it is known as solar entrance? Because it has got the connection with the sun. And the pathway which I am telling you from the heart to the brain, that is known as solar path. There are other beams also. So very interestingly, I will digress a little to give you a little more information. Why this solar part or solar path is very important. When a person dies, this is the belief in Indian systems, and particularly in Indian mythology, in Indian scriptures, Indian spiritual world, that when a person dies, he goes upward through two paths, either of the two paths. One is Pitrayan and the other is the Suryayan, sun. So the one who goes through the Suryayan or sun path, he attains liberation or he goes to the higher planes of existence. There are many levels of existence, so he goes to the higher planes, and whereas the one who goes to the Pitrayan, he goes to a higher look, but according to his karmas, he will be again born, and the cycle of life and death, it goes on. So this is the belief which is there. So from that point of view, this Suryayan is solar entrance. It is considered to be very important. And another belief is that, if a yogi dies, then the experts, they check from where the pranas left the body. So pranas can leave body from various places. Wherever person's mind goes, from there, if a person is having some painful situation at the time of death, pranas may leave from that part of the body. They may leave from ears, they may leave from eyes, they may be from other part of the body. So now that is not considered to be a very good state. So when the pranas leave the body from the Brahmarandra, that is the top of the head, then that is considered to be very good. And one can be sure that the departed soul which left from the Brahmarandra must have attained a great state. सदगति मिली रहेगी उसको या उच्च लोक में वो गया रहेगा, ऐसा बोलते हैं. So all these are the beliefs which are, I am saying this because you will understand, why it is significant. What are the connections? I am just trying to show you what are the connections. That's why I am mentioning all this. So this solar entrance is considered to be very, very important from the point of view of liberation. And for yogis, it is very important. And that's why you will find that all the time the concentration is this towards this upward movement, and more sattvic light is there. So when we look at this, heart is the point of contact between. Now this is important. Why it is situated, why it begins from the heart? Because heart is considered to be the most significant part. I was just, when I was doing this, I don't know whether there are many photographs, but I remember Jesus Christ. Most of his photos you will find that they have this heart as a very significant part. So I was trying to find it out. I'll just show you one, for example. Where is it? Okay. I'm not able to find it, but okay, maybe it is not saved. So most of the photos you will find of Jesus Christ where a heart is the prominent portion which is shown, and there is a effulgent light moving from. So that is one depiction which is very common. Like that, as I told you, various kinds of beliefs which are there. So focusing on the heart, and even when we are meditating, heart is considered to be a very important area where the meditation can be carried out. And if you are interested, you can read Aranya's commentary in chapter 1, where he has talked about focusing on the heart region. And particularly in Ishwar Pradhan Shlokas also, Sutras also, you will find these kind of ideas which are given, where the focus is to be kept on heart. So why this heart, or why this solar entrance is so significant, and what happens exactly? Because solar entrance is not only connected to the knowledge of the higher regions or the other lokas, but it is also related to getting the knowledge about the entire chitta, entire buddhi, entire functioning of the mind. There is another sutra which will be coming. In Sutra 34 we will be discussing that. But here I just read something to you which is very important. That one of the shlokas, Mundaka Upanishad. Mundaka Upanishad is one of the most ancient Upanishads. So quotation has been taken from there, and the narration, the description is there. Heart is the point of contact between the soul and the body. In other words, the most sentient part of the body is the heart. हृदय आत्मा और शरीर का संधि स्थल है. शरीर का सबसे प्रकाशशील अंश हृदय है. The chest is generally the center of eye cells. Last time, I think twice we have talked about it. Simone had asked about the heart, and last time I was mentioning that when we are referring to our own self, if I am talking about myself, automatically my hand will go on my chest, at the center of my chest. So that is the center of the eye sense. Feeling, eye sense and feeling. Therefore, the part which is most sentient and which has most subtle feeling is the heart. The current of subtle feeling flowing up from the heart towards the brain is Sushumna. Sushumna is not to be looked in gross physical body, but is only to be located by meditation. According to modern works, Sushumna is located in spinal cord, but according to ancient Shruti Shastra, a particular nerve going up from the heart is Sushumna. The yogins willfully suppressing the action of the body and thus any feeling thereon, and finally give up the sentient parts and become discarnate, Videha Mukti. This is another sutra we will discuss about Videhas. This portion or Sukshma Prakashit Ansh is called Sushumna. On account of some connection with the sun, it is called solar entrance or Surya Dwar. Then there is another Upanishad which he has quoted, which is known as Yoga Upanishad, Maitrayani Upanishad. Again, it is a very ancient Upanishad he has quoted. And the narration is, the lamp-like thing situated within the heart has innumerable rays, one of which goes up right through the solar region. After passing the Brahma, the departing soul gets to the highest point with the help of this ray. Thus, one of the rays of effulgent light mentioned before, 136, remember we had discussed about Jyotishmati in previous two sutras. So, in Sushumna, entrance is the solar entrance. This is the situation of the location of the area where the concentration is carried out. And I do not know. We might be thinking that Samyama is not accessible to us. So how do we know that? But even otherwise, in ordinary kind of meditations also, if we know how to meditate and if we can focus on the heart region, it will be very rewarding in understanding our own selves and improving our concentration. So heart region is considered to be very important from the point of view of meditation. Now, going to this, knowledge about this, this is clear that where exactly the concentration is done, what is Surya Dwar, that we have seen. Now, how does, it help? Sutra is talking about Bhuvana Jnana. Sutra is talking about the cosmic regions. And whereas the suggestion is given to be focused on the heart region. So, how is it that the focus on the heart region will reveal the cosmic regions? So, now again behind this, a very great thinking in Indian philosophy and in Indian spiritual world, they believe that whatever is there in the Brahmanda, that is there in the Pinda. Now, human body is known as Pinda. Whatever is there is nothing in Brahmanda which is not there in the Pinda. That is the belief. So, particularly when you read to Kashmiri Shaivism, all the tantric traditions, if you read, so they will talk about Pinda and Brahmanda. So through the Pinda, Brahmanda can be known. Because whatever is there in Brahmanda, everything exists in subtle form. It's a replica, it's a kind of miniature. So our body is a miniature of Brahmanda. That is what Tantra also believes, and many systems of India thinking, they talk about it. So through Pinda, the Brahmanda is to be reached. That is the tantric method. And here, this Pinda Brahmanda, so microcosm and macrocosm, whatever is there in the body, that is there in the external world. And perhaps this solar entrance is selected because this has got some kind of, it might be providing intuitive knowledge, in a super conscious state of mind. It might be providing knowledge of the cosmic regions. That is how it has been explained, that how this knowledge might be taking place. Because our body has got everything. And in body, so many lokas are there by focusing on it. Now, subsequently, you will find that many sutras are talking about concentrating on the different parts of the body. Like the very next sutra, it is talking about Chandra Dwar. Here they are talked about Surya Dwar. The next sutra talks about Chandra Dwar. And then subsequently, the physical object of polar star is there. Then Navi Chakra is there, focusing on the navel region. Now, again, very significant, very practical from understanding of this Navi Chakra. We'll be going into the details of it. So various body parts have been selected. Or when one has to acquire knowledge of about the Devas and Siddhas, then Brahmarandra is the Murda Jyoti Siddha Darshan. This kind of shlokas you will find, they are all focusing on the body parts. And through focusing on the various body parts, the knowledge of extraordinary kind is acquired. That is coming subsequently. So that is the answer. As I told you, I am just trying to give you the most authentic information as I have understood. I am not sure about what I am talking, but as I have understood, I am sharing with you. So the explanation has been given because of the Pinda Brahmand similarity. Focusing on the solar entrance can give this kind of knowledge that has been stated. Now moving a little further, as I told you, these lokas, maybe they are not the lokas which are of physical kind, but maybe they are at a subtle level, and the functioning of these subtle things are available to the mind, and maybe they are not talking about the physical lokas. That is also a possibility. Like there are so many lokas, each one is so subtle that it cannot be perceived by gross method. By gross senses it cannot be perceived. So mind has to be tuned to that, mind has to be focused to be able to know that. And then they have talked about various kinds of existences, various kinds of species, various kinds of life forms. This we have discussed at some point earlier also. But here in this particular sutra, they are talked about the beings which are there at the Devalokas and the Gandharvas and the Kinnaras and the Bhutas. So many kind of existence, so many kind of life forms have been talked about, and all these are subtle. They have been mentioned in our scriptures, and we know that they talk about them, but we have never seen them. So these again, it would mean that they are very, very subtle in nature, and it is difficult for an ordinary mind to really know about them. Now, the question comes, why we are discussing it? What is the point of discussing it? One is because we will know which are the important areas for concentration. That is one thing, very obviously. Because if somebody is interested in acquiring some kind of particular kind of knowledge, then he knows where to concentrate. I gave you an example of Nabhi Chakra Kaya Vivajnanam. If one is focusing on the Nabhi Chakra, he will acquire knowledge of the entire formation of the body. Same way, by focusing on the solar entrance, he can acquire knowledge about these various kinds of species. And this knowledge is also necessary because when we talk about yoga, what is the ultimate aim of yoga? The ultimate aim of yoga is Kaivalya. Kaivalya is there. And Kaivalya is, if the Kaivalya is also being in one of these lokas, then there is no point, because we are just traveling from one plane of existence to another plane of existence. Kaivalya is totally different from all these lokas which have been talked about. And if you remember, some of you were there when we did chapter 1, in that Sutra 18 when we did, Sutra 19 when we did, there they talked about Videhas and Prakriti Layas. Who are Videhas? Videhas are the beings who are without body. They exist only in some form of natural element. Prakriti Linas are those who have merged into some natural element. So it could be fire, it could be water, it could be earth. So these kind of beings have been these kinds of yogis have been talked about. So now this sutra, it is this distinguishing between all the other beings which are living in different levels of existence, and these Prakriti Layas and Videhas and Kaivalya. So Kaivalya, Videhaya, and these Videhas and Prakriti Layas, they live as if they have attained the liberation. They have attained. Even Buddhism talks about, particularly in Buddhism, there is one particular kind of sect, the Pure Land meditation, Pure Land. So Amitabha Buddha, they talk about. There they have talked about a loka. Most of the people who believe in this Amitabha Buddha, they conduct their life in such a way that they wish and they desire and they aim to die and be born into that loka of Amitabha, so that from there they can attain Buddhahood. And that particular loka is known to be very subtle loka, and there are a sizable number of people, particularly in Japan, you'll find they believe in this Pure Land Buddha. And these kind of ideas are there in Buddhism also. Now, progressively, as one is progressing, one knows that a human being can attain the divine powers, it can attain divine existence. If we believe that when we do good deeds, when we have performed everything nicely and we have lived life in the correct manner, we evolve and we are born as devas, we are born as divine beings. So divine beings have got their different kind of capacities, different kind of existence. But even that is in belonging to some kind of category of existence. Now yoga is not interested in just uplifting ourselves from one level to another level, but yoga is more interested in ultimate freedom from everything. It doesn't want to live in a particular loka, it wants to transcend everything. So this is important. And then again, I'll talk about the solar entrance. Solar entrance is also, according to one of the Upanishads, a person who is interested in realizing the God, where he has to focus. For example, if we are worshipping God and God is our focus, so where do we focus on God? Which is the area? Again, the heart region is considered to be the most important. And one of the Upanishads says that the consciousness or the Atma, it is hidden in the region of heart. So heart is the key to really, which will unfold the higher levels of existence. It can provide us better understanding. It can provide us deeper understanding of things. So very technical and very difficult sutra. I tried to make it a little interesting by way of giving all the information. But I don't know whether I have done justice to the explanation. But these various belief systems are there. As I told you, heart is a very important region, and from there a lot of knowledge can occur. And this idea of liberation, see, when we talk about yoga, people are interested in making life little better. That is not the aim of yoga. When we are physically strong, physically healthy, mentally strong, mentally healthy, we have got better appetite to enjoy the world. So many people take that as the ultimate aim. So they just want to better their capacities, better their mind, better their health, so that they can enjoy the world. That is not the aim of yoga. The text we are discussing, the things we are discussing, there the aim of yoga is ultimate liberation. Seeking freedom from everything, all kind of limitations and all levels of existence. So it doesn't matter whether we become divine, we become divine beings. वो अगर जैसे बोलते हैं कि अच्छे कर्म करो स्वर्ग में जाओ, do good deeds and then you will go to heaven. Okay, you go to heaven, then what? Suppose we go to heaven, what will happen? We will enjoy better than today. We will enjoy better than what we are enjoying. But then how long? As long as the karmas are helping us. Then again we are back to square one. Then we have to again accumulate more karmas, do some good deeds. Then again go to, and in between if we commit some mistakes, we will go to hell also. All those possibilities are there. So even if we are desiring heaven is a limited existence according to yoga. It is possible to go there. It is possible to enjoy heaven-like existence. It's not difficult. Yoga can provide that also, but that is not the aim of yoga. Yoga is aiming at something bigger, where a person is totally established in his own self, with the term which is used is Kaivalya. And we know that Buddha talked about it as Nirvana. The Vedanta talks about it as Mukti, Moksha, liberation. So liberation is the aim. Now that is something very subtle, and not everyone will be motivated to work toward the aim. One would be happy that I am doing yoga, I am feeling good, I am enjoying life, I am happy here. Why should I bother about Kaivalya and why should I think about Mukti? लेकिन ये हमको समझना पड़ेगा कि कितना भी हम योग करते हैं उससे अच्छा लगता है, फायदा भी होता है, लाइफ बेटर हो रही है, हमारे प्रॉब्लम्स कुछ कम हो रहे हैं, हमारी जो मुसीबतें हैं वो कम हो रही हैं. वी आर एबल टू डील विथ अवर नेगेटिविटीज मच बेटर. वी आर एबल टू डील विथ अवर shortcomings, our emotional problems. All that is good. All that is happening. But apart from that, when we are talking about higher purpose, now this is the higher purpose which is provided by yoga. Very few are really interested in that kind of Kaivalya, and very few talk about it. Very few think how many Buddhas are there, how many Mahavirs are there. Just think about how many Mahavirs and Buddhas our human society has produced. Very few are there. Some unnamed are, some unknown are there. It is not that they are not there. There are, but we do not know about them. And because we are too interested in the worldly life, we don't think about these things. So maybe they are not appealing. So studying this sutra is providing us with an opportunity to think of the possibilities which are there, apart from the existence of material plane, where we are thinking only in terms of our own pleasures and pains, our pains and sufferings. We want to make life little easier. There's much more than that which is available in yoga.
Niranjan, all said and done, my wife lives by the heart and I live by the brain. And she's more happy, she's more joyous, she's more smiling, and I'm more tense. And okay, the idea is moksha, that is fine, but where I am, I should be happy, which I'm not. My wife is more happy.
From your wife. You should learn from your wife. When you know she is happy, follow her, listen to her.
She will listen to her heart. I listen to my mind. I'm very, very calculator.
You listen to your wife, you will be happy.
She is not at all calculator. She would see the comfort. She would see the comfort with every person in the family. I will see my space, my routines, my this.
Sir, see how the kleshas, my, I.
No.
So you are answering your own query. You know where the problem lies. Isn't it? When we see calculating, unless we come out of calculations, we will not be able to transcend the limitedness. It is पूरी अविद्या मैं और मेरा, तू और तेरा, इसमें ही पूरी अविद्या है. रामदास जी ने भी यही कहा, बाकी संतों ने भी यही कहा कि पूरी की पूरी अविद्या. हम लोग अविद्या की बात करते हैं. See, we are talking about nescience, we are talking about avidya. What is avidya? Avidya is when I say you and me, that is avidya. ये मैं मेरा जो है ना, यही अविद्या. इससे हम लोग ऊपर जब आएंगे तभी हम छोटी छोटी बातों में आगे बढ़ के देख सकते हैं. वो अगर हम वो करते ही नहीं है. हम तो हमेशा मैंने तो ऐसा सीखा है, आप तो गलत बोल रहे हो. नहीं, मेरा नॉलेज तो ऐसा बोलते हैं, आई हैव रेड दिस अकॉर्डिंग टू मी दिस इज द राइट. इससे आगे हम जा ही नहीं पाते. तो जब इसके आगे जाएंगे नहीं, तो जहाँ पे they are talking about being totally selfless. Now imagine, we can't even imagine a person who is totally selfless. We are all the time so selfish, thinking about ourselves. मेरे को क्या मिलेगा, मेरे को क्या मिलेगा, अभी ये क्लास अटेंड करके मुझे क्या मिला, ये क्लास अटेंड करके मुझे क्या मिलेगा. हम इसके आगे हम जा ही नहीं पाते. ये तो मेजर प्रॉब्लम है हमारा. और हार्ट से जीना है. मतलब see, अभी last time we had a very good discussion with this saint whom we visit, and he said learning by mind, learning by brain is one thing, and learning by heart is totally different. When you live by heart, that means what we have studied. When we talk about selflessness, it is not a word which is there at the intellect level, but it has come into behavior. So when we behave in a selfless manner, that is what is the learning by heart. We are living by heart then. But all the time we are thinking, मेरा क्या होगा, मेरा क्या होगा, मुझे क्या मिलेगा. So we are at the brain level. We cannot really hope for that peace of mind. It is impossible to attain peace of mind in that way. तो अभी वाइफ को सुनना चालू करो अजय. Start living the way she lives, you will be happier. ऐसे भी वाइफ को सुनना ज्यादा अच्छा है. मुझे भी डॉक्टर साहब ने बोला. Any more questions? It's very technical. थोड़ा सा विचार करेंगे इस पे. Do some reflection, question it. Whatever you have heard, think about it. If there are questions, then then the query. If the question arises, then the answer will be available. Then we will be able to understand things in a much better way. If the question doesn't arise in the mind, then we are just accepted. We have to be questioning. I'm sorry, today I forgot to record. So today those who are absent will not be able to hear. I totally forgot to record the talk. Ajay, if you recorded, you can share.
Yeah, I'll share it.
That will be nice.
Yeah.
I totally skipped my mind to record it. You can put it on the group.
Yeah. I'll do that.
So, any more questions?
So, would it be okay to say that certain times, certain situations will require the mind to take prominence at times? I mean, it's what you explained. I'm definitely going to read and reflect. What I'm saying is, at certain times, you feel that you have to little give preference to what the mind says instead of the heart. Kind of. I'm just saying, depending on the situation.
Since it is we who have put ourselves in a situation where we are required to think in this manner and behave in this manner, so as long as that is persisting, we will have to do that. So, for example, if we are married and we have a partner and we have a family, then we have put ourselves in a situation where we'll have to provide for their food, we'll have to take care of them. That cannot be escaped and that should not be avoided. We have to do that. But in that also, whatever duties we have to do, whatever we have to perform essentially in our day-to-day living, we do that. But apart from that, there should be an inclination, there should be a desire to move in more peaceful areas. So doing our duties and whatever little time, whatever effort we can put in the right direction, we start doing that. So gradually, automatically we will find that our responsibilities also are becoming little less and we are not needed so much and we can focus more on the peace of mind, we can focus more on our own pursuit of mind and peaceful states of mind. This will happen. But we should not avoid all our duties which are there in our day-to-day life because we have, through our karmas, we have put ourselves in that situation where we are required to perform certain duties. Like a businessman has to do business. If you are working someplace, you have to work and you are employee, so you have to work there. And like I said, if family is there, we have to take care of the family. That is our duty. If we don't do that, it will create so much distance that we will not be here nor will be there. So we have to perform all our duty, and in between we have to keep finding time for these kind of peaceful states of mind. Strive for that as far as possible, as many times as possible. We try to become aware. We become little peaceful. We do something by which we enjoy some harmony, some peace. During the day, 2, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, if we can do that, gradually things will change. That's what I understand.
Thank you so much, sir. It makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, we leave it here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Namaste.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so